I was working on the VR6 again today, and it's probably I think this is the 4th episode working on this thing. It's gonna be a pretty long series, but I think I'm gonna figure out the intercooler piping today. I gotta pull this intake manifold off, drill some vacuum ports out into it, drill and tap them, and got a few other things I gotta do, but let's get into it. All right, so just thinking about the intercooler piping, and in the last video I had this on. I ended up taking it off. Obviously, don't need it on right now, since I gotta do a lot of stuff, and I can't take that intake manifold off with that on. But originally, I didn't know where to put the intercooler piping, so I was thinking have it come around, go over here, down into there, or I was just gonna have it come up over the valve cover, down into there. Now, unfortunately, since it's gonna be a 3-inch piping, it's not gonna clear the hood right here. And if I have it come here, I mean, that's kind of excessive to come up over this way through here, and it does clear the hood since it kind of fits perfectly in here. But problem is with the headlight in and all the front end parts, there is no room to put it down there. It won't fit. And I wanted to keep the windshield washer fluid, and I didn't want to have to relocate this and all that. So, but unfortunately, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. So now my plan is, with the intercooler piping, have it come up over this way and through here. I'm gonna have to relocate this, and then I'm gonna have to remove the windshield washer fluid tank, and it should have enough room then to go out into the intercooler. And yeah, and I might also end up having to relocate this, which stinks because I just put all these lines on. If you guys saw that in the last video, but I guess that's how it goes. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna start mocking things up. I think first I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this, get this thing out of the way as well. I don't have any steering fluid in this thing right now, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so kind of forgot to record, but remove the coolant ball, power steering reservoir, and the windshield washer fluid tank. I got the front end back on, and right now I'm just starting to make the intercooler piping. As you can see, got it a little bit tacked up right now. Got a few pie cuts in there, as you can see, and basically gotta tack this up to right there, just like that. But yeah, I got a 45 right here. Now just gonna connect this to that down part, that piece down there, and I think I gotta put a silicone piece right here so I can remove it from this section and then this section out this way, because it won't all come out as one piece. But fortunately, I'm gonna have to relocate the coolant ball. I think this thing is definitely not gonna fit in there. As you can see, it used to go right there. I don't know, we'll figure it out. I think I'm gonna have to relocate this though to somewhere over here. Probably put it like right there. And it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. I don't want to delete this, but yeah, and I'm gonna have to relocate this. I think I'm gonna relocate it where usually relocate them, just down here, have a bracket come down, have it mount right here, out of the way. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, if you guys are making your own intercooler piping, definitely suggest getting a tool like this thing, because if you don't use that, as you can see, makes this nice bead on the end of the pipe, so that this thing stays on the silicone hose when it's under boost. If you don't have this little ridge here, it's just flat, more than likely that thing's just gonna blow right off every time. So super nice, and it makes a super clean bead, as you can see with that thing. I think I got this thing on jegs.com, but it's pretty sweet. So if you guys were wondering how I'm gonna do it, and so the intercooler piping doesn't just blow off, got this little bead on the end, works pretty good. All right, so just went ahead and finished tacking up this whole end, this whole side. As you can see, we got the silicone piece right here, so I can pull this half out through the bottom, this half out through the top. Overall, not bad. It wasn't too hard to make. Pretty much just use all these pre-bent pieces. Kind of worked out mint. I haven't welded it fully yet. It's all just tacked, as you can see. But only thing I'm worried about is this. Pretty close to the exhaust, which I don't really like. But I'm not sure what else I'm gonna do. So if it ends up getting too hot, I'll have to figure something else out. Maybe I'll end up running it through the bottom, but I don't want to do that either. But overall, I don't think it came out too bad. I think it looks pretty sweet. So now I'm gonna end up pulling all this out. I gotta weld it all anyways and pull this front piece off, get the intake manifold off so I can start drilling ports for the vacuum ports. I think I'm just gonna use this little flat spot right here. And the previous guy had already gone ahead and drilled a hole through this for some reason. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. All right, got the front piece off and the intake manifold, and already got my first one done. I ended up using that piece that I was talking about where you already drilled a hole through, and I tapped it. Put the 1/8 inch NPT fitting in, so that should work fine. And I gotta put probably gonna put about 5 in total. I do have to put I think it's a 3/8 MPT fitting on because I have to connect the brake booster hose to the intake manifold. So I might put that one since that one's bigger. Probably put it right here. Maybe I'll offset them. I was thinking about putting 2 right here and then putting the other 2 in another spot, but not really sure yet. I might just put them right here since don't really know of any good spots really. Could probably put them right here, but figure it out. But got the first one done, which is nice. So just gotta keep doing it. All right, so as you can see, we got 3 more of these fittings on, and this one I just have drilled out. I have to drill it out bigger, but this one's gonna be a 3/8 MBT fitting because I need that to be bigger for the brake booster hose. But went ahead and put this intercooler pipe back on because forgot that I need to put the blow-off valve on. So I put the flange on and I just marked it out where I gotta cut a hole and then weld that piece on. And so you guys know, the reason I'm putting it here is because usually you want the blow-off valve to be as close to the turbo as possible, and this is about the closest spot I could get it. I didn't want it right here because it's kind of close to this stuff, and if I had it straight up, it gets really close to the hood. So I'm gonna have it at an angle sitting right here. Should work fine. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this off, weld it up. All right, so got the intercooler piping all TIG welded up, and attempted to make it all colorful and stuff. I wanted it all just gold, but kind of messed it up. But I don't really care. I think it looks kind of neat like that. For some reason, this side, these 2 pieces would not color. Maybe I didn't clean it good enough, but looked kind of weird, but not bad. Yeah, I'm gonna put the blow-off valve on now just to make sure it fits. But I also went ahead and got that fitting in, got it in today. So all those fittings are all set. I think that's more than enough. There's 5 of them on there. I know I'm gonna at least need 4 of them, I think. So I'll probably just end up putting a little cap on one of them. Not a big deal, and if I ever need it, then it's kind of mint, works out good. So got the blow-off valve on right now, and just gonna double check, see if it clears the hood. All right, so hard to see obviously, but it does clear, so we're good. And I also got the intake manifold in. I don't know if I mentioned that. Just got the fuel pressure regulator hose connected right now. This one is gonna have to go to the blow-off valve. This one's gonna have to go to the EMU black, and then, or this one doesn't matter, and the other one will probably end up going to the boost controller or something else, and then this one goes to the brake booster hose. So obviously still gotta do all those ones, but got the intercooler pipe on this side on, but now I gotta start working on this side. And this side is probably gonna be a little bit of a pain because throttle body's down in there. As you can see, there's really not much room to get to it, so I'm gonna figure that out. Also forgot to mention, hard to see down there, but got the dump tube on for the wastegate. I might have to extend it since it kind of just dumps into the axle, but not probably a big problem. As you can see, kind of just dumps right there. Shouldn't really hit anything. Should be fine, but I guess we'll find out when we run this thing. All right, so I keep hopping around. I was gonna do the intercooler piping on this side, and then I ended up getting sidetracked, and I went ahead and made a bracket right here for the coolant ball. So it's gonna be right there now instead of over there in the stock location. I don't want to delete it. I kind of want to leave it, so I ended up having to move it over here. Made myself a bracket, and shouldn't be moving anywhere. And I had to make sure, I would have had both of them bolt to somewhere, but these lines, I wanted them angled that way, obviously towards the where the coolant line comes from. So obviously this thing is not going to reach anywhere. It's kind of out in the middle of the open, so just one. It'll be fine. It's not going to move. Not too worried about it. But yeah, I think now I'm going to start working on the intercooler piping. All right, so just finished this side of the intercooler piping. See, goes up into the throttle body. It's kind of hard to see down in there, but clears the fan. Fits pretty good, so hyped that I got that done. Intercooler piping is all set now, and next thing I'm gonna do is I gotta make a bracket to relocate this power steering reservoir, and I'm thinking it's probably gonna sit somewhere over here. I just have to make sure that it'll clear the tire once the tire is on the ground, but I think somewhere in this area should work fine. Just worried that since the intercooler piping is kind of in the way, that wherever I put this, it might not clear the tire, and I don't want it to hit the tire, obviously. So, thinking back here in the corner as much as possible. Only problem with this is I don't know how I'm gonna fill it, so I might have it come down. I'm gonna have to have it come down like this, and then that way I can at least take the cap off, and then I can fill it. Kind of hard to see, but I'll be able to fill it through that hole right there. If it sits back here like that, as you can see, if this thing would focus, it'll kind of sit right above that, but I'll leave it enough down so that I could take the cap off and then just fill through the top with like a siphon or something. It's kind of a pain, but I don't have many other options. Normally when you relocate these, you'll have it go right where this pipe is, so you can still fill it pretty easily, but obviously can't do that, so I have to put it somewhere back here. All right, so as you can see, I got the whole front end off again, unfortunately, but do have the power steering bracket in, and it's right above right there, so I should be able to fill it from the top. And reason I got this front end off right now is because, as you can see, I got the EMU black connected, and I loaded on my startup tune that I made for it, and the thing was still running like crap. I don't know if you guys saw the previous video where I started it just on the stock ECU though. Obviously bigger injectors were gonna make it run rough, and it was running rough, so I thought it was just the bigger injectors. Started up with this, doing the same thing, so ended up compression testing it, changed the coil packs out, redid the timing because I actually found that the timing was off one tooth from the guy timing it incorrectly, which I should have checked before, so I fixed that, started again, same thing, a little bit better, but still same thing. I ended up like going through this whole engine, swapped out to my original harness off this car. As you can see, this is a harness that came off this car and not the one I got with the engine. Now that thing's over here. And then I pulled the injectors out and I find these. So these are normal, just injector cups. Nothing not seen before. But basically, these go on the top of the injector to extend the injector. Pull the injector out. These are actually at the bottom of the injector, which you can't put them at the bottom of the injector because the injector doesn't fire right. And also, it's hard to see, but he drilled them out for whatever reason, and they're all not perfectly circle. He didn't center them right, basically. So basically, him putting this in wrong, instead of putting it at the top, he put it at the bottom of the injector. Made it so when the injector fires, it doesn't atomize the fuel, kind of just pours out of this little hole, and it was making this thing misfire. So unfortunately, I don't want to run these drilled out pieces of crap, so I have to order new ones. But what I did was I put the stock injectors into the car. As you can see, it's got the stock injectors in right now. And then I started it up and it runs perfect. So the injectors are the problem, and I can't just throw them into the car without the injector caps, because they do need them, but they need them on the input side and not the actual nozzle side. So just figure I'd give you guys a little idea what's going on with this thing. Yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up. Glad I got it to run. I'll show you guys that in the next video. I think I'm going to be installing the EMU Black with like all the other stuff that comes along with it. I got a boost controller for it, intake air temp sensor for it, all that stuff that I got to hook up to the EMU Black, and then hopefully start finalizing the car in the next video. But at least I know it runs and idles right now after I figured out that annoying problem with the injectors, because that was not fun. And also, I'm glad I found the timing was off a tooth, so I could fix that. But that's going to end it for this one. Peace.